say that you don't have those.
I don't have hot flashes.
Well, your face says otherwise.
Well, I got hot. I was
Okay,
just
we are
things.
Live. Hello and welcome.
Hey.
Sorry, we're about 2 minutes behind.
My light broke. I
Mm-hmm.
had to fix it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to book club. We are reading. During all that excitement of your light, I forgot to grab the book. So we read The Words by Jade or Ashley Jade. And I have a confession. I read this a little over 3 years ago. I did not do a reread. I wrote some notes for myself because this was like pre-book journal for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do my best to talk about it. But as most of you know, I don't really do rereads. So I didn't on this one.
And my confession is sometimes I do rereads. I didn't on this one. I read it about 2 years ago. Well, I read it since we started our channel. It was convincing. But I looked up notes. We'll see how far we get.
Are you sure?
I looked up notes on Goodreads.
No. That you read it for convincing?
Uh-huh. It was one of our very first convincings, I think.
When I looked it up, it looked like you read it in 2022.
Maybe you just forced me to read it. I remember it's because you made me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Hello, Sabrina. Hi.
Hey.
So people are joining us and saying hello. Hello. Hi, Irene. I had planned on rereading, but I started it and remembered everything, so I stopped. See, that's what I was kind of like. Oh my god, my hair is gonna drive me nuts. That was kind of where I was too. I was like, I think it'll all come back to me, so I don't need to do a reread.
Yeah,
I don't really like rereading.
I love to reread, but it's got to be a book that I'm like really jonesing for because I know it's the tropes that I really want, and it's something that I feel the need to reread. This one, I just didn't feel it.
And I am going to be doing a reread, but I'm going to listen to The Fall Before Flight when it comes out. I have some insider information that I don't know if I can share yet, but when I can share it, everybody will know why I want to listen. All right, here we go. Hello, ladies. Glad you were able to make this one. Yes, we're glad you're here too.
You are going to have to read them to me because I don't want to put my glasses on.
I am reading them to you.
I know. I'm just saying throughout the whole live.
So Irene said, I almost finished the audiobook, but don't mind well, apparently I shouldn't be the one in charge of reading them, but don't mind spoilers. I will still finish it. I have my retainer, and that was probably not the best.
I love it when you have your retainer, and I love your list. Teddy Hamilton does the narration, if I remember right. I don't remember who the female narrator is, but I remember Teddy does it.
Hello. Hi. Hello. This one says hello, besties.
Hi.
Sorry. Forgot I was supposed to read these to you.
Yeah.
You've reread this book 4 times?
Oh, I feel that there's a few books out there that I read like 4 times a year. So, I reread 4 times a year. But Mandy doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Jessica?
What?
I just realized that I forgot to switch us to 720 to see if that helps, because I know you were a little blurry.
Yeah, we do that. Can you do that still?
I think I just did, but it's not helping yet, but let's see if it does. I think I did it.
Okay.
Sorry, people. Okay, we'll see. Let us know how it looks to you guys.
Yeah, I put on makeup for this. I can't be blurry. I did not do rouge on the cheeks. I just got hot is all.
Yes, it is Teddy, and he is awesome as always. The female narrator is Erin
Malone. I like Erin too.
And she does a wonderful job too. Yeah, I like her too a lot.
I was watching before we jumped on this. Samantha Rose was doing a live on TikTok of reading while she's narrating, and I was watching her, and
who?
Oliver. Samantha, is it Samantha Rose, the one that we were hung out with in Bray? Stephanie
Rose.
Okay, I knew it started with an S, and I knew it ended in a Rose.
Well, you were confusing. I mean, there could be a Samantha Rose. That's why I was like, who?
No. That's just me.
Well, Stephanie does a lot of readings online.
She's good.
I don't know what we're LOLing. Is it my listing?
My red cheeks, probably.
Jessica's cheeks, her semi-blurriness. That didn't really seem to fix it. I don't know what everybody else is seeing.
I can go out and turn off my thingy and see if that helps.
You can if you want to.
But then you'll have to remember to let me back in.
I will let you back in.
Okay, so
well,
that's just mean. Over. Okay, let me see if I can fix it.
Okay, while Jessica does that, I'll continue on with comments. Oh yeah, we should talk about how we've rated the book. Thank you for getting us back on track. Okay, oh my gosh, I know you have told us what your first name is, and I'm so sorry. I'm loving Jessica's picture right there. But I forgot what it was. I think I know what it is, but I don't want to be wrong. So I'm so sorry. But you gave the book 5 stars. Irene says she's loving and enjoying the book more than she had anticipated. Brittany, see, I was going to say Brittany, but then I had this overwhelming fear I was going to be wrong. So sorry. I'll remember that for next time, though. And then I think I just skipped somebody. Let's see. Loving and enjoying the book. I already read that one. More than you had anticipated. You gave the book 5 stars. Okay, I got to remove Jessica and then add. Nope. There she is, adding her back to the stage. So Anne-Marie gave the book 5 stars as well, and she loved it.
I'm sure I gave it 5 stars. I think you did too when we read it.
Oh, yeah. It's like on my top 20
it was
of all time.
It was a top of the year when I read it, yeah.
Okay, people say you were blurry, but you were no longer blurry on my side. So, okay, we already did that. Hello. From Tampa.
It's our Florida girls.
That's right. Sabrina read it back in 2022 and gave it 5 stars. So yeah, that's when, is that when it came out? Was in 2022? I feel like it's older than that, but that's when I read it. Oh, I'm very carefully going to open this.
What are you carefully looking at?
I'm trying to look and see when it came out. Oh, it came out in January of 2022. Okay, so that's why a lot of us read it back then.
Well, I must have read it in 23.
Maybe I can't read. Maybe it did say 2023 and I thought it said 2022.
Who knows?
I love this cover. Well, and I did not own the book, and thankful to Pango because I was able to find somebody who was selling it at a reasonable price.
The reason why we were looking for those, which I still need to try and find one. I kind of gave up the ghost, but they're there. But she was picked up by publishing, by a publisher, by one of those, and it changed the book a little bit. And that's why the original has a little bit more.
I feel like if I had fully reread it, it would be a 4 or 4.5. Mm-hmm. I'm on chapter 70. I forgot that there's chapters.
It is long.
But loving it so far.
I do remember reading it. I remember sitting in my bed reading it. So
I just read, or I was actually listening to a book the other day, and they're like, chapter 119. Like, holy crap.
That's what it was like reading Pam Godwin's Frozen Fate. You get to like chapter 75 and you're like, we're still going.
Yeah. It's long, but it did not seem like it. So that was actually, I wrote a review for it, even though we were not doing our book channel. And like I said, I didn't have a book journal or anything. So I was just reading books, and I loved it so much that I wrote a review in Goodreads. And I wrote that even though the book was 600 pages, I could have read 600 more. Yeah. Like, I just loved it so much.
It was good. Yeah.
You were no longer blurry. Yay! So now we can all see your very red cheeks.
Yes, I know. I had to turn off my cellular data. It was trying to send us to Canada, apparently.
Oh, yeah. It will definitely be a 5-star read listen for me, too. It handles so many topics, and well done. Yes. Yeah. I feel like it didn't seem as long as it was, but truthfully, it could have probably been 200 pages shorter. Oh. I loved it when I read it, but...
I don't know if it's just me. Sometimes I get impatient, even if the book is 5 stars. I still get impatient, and I just want to know what's going to happen at the end. Like, I think a part of that is having such a big TBR that I'm like, I have other books to get to. I'm loving this one, but are we almost done yet? Sometimes that happens. Typically, it's when I'm listening to a book. So
I physically read it because in 2022 I wasn't listening to audiobooks. Anne Marie says she prefers books 350 pages or shorter.
I get that because sometimes you lose focus.
Okay, Mrs. Burns, I am right there with you. This was my least favorite part, was the waking up to the chick in bed with her. I did not like that. It kind of bothered me, but then I was able to let it go. But that was the part I didn't care for either. But also, Phoenix was like a loose cannon. So
yeah.
I think that extreme behavior from him, maybe that's what we needed to see. I don't know. I totally scanned the first 20 chapters and then went back. I don't like high school, LOL.
I don't either. If you tell me a book is set in high school, it typically is an automatic no for me. Every once in a while, I can do it, but no.
Yeah, reading a longer book, she says, doesn't always have the time to read a longer book.
Yeah.
That is very true. I must admit, I almost stopped when the FMC weight issues were going on, but I kept at it and then I got into it more. Yeah, I usually don't like that, but I feel like it was really important to kind of set up the story and that whole like break that the two of them had and what happened there.
Yeah.
Brittany also gets impatient.
And I've said this before because I think I said something about her being a size 18. And a size 18 on someone like me who's built broad, very broad, my linebacker shoulders, is going to look different. And I've got birthing hips too. I'd look funny without it, but it looks different than on somebody like you who's more petite than I am, right? Like you're just built, you're compared to me, you're tiny. I have linebacker shoulders. I just do. I've got good German stock in me. But a size 18, I was a size 18 in high school and I wasn't huge, but that's what I was. I was still made fun of. But it looks different than on somebody who's shorter and smaller built than me. So that's what I have a hard time with when they talk about heroines battling their weight and they throw out just a size like a 14, 15, 16. Because for me, 14 looks great on, that's like the ideal size for me. So it's hard. That's why I don't like when they talk about heroines being chunky or whatever. It's hard to judge that because what I picture is different than somebody else.
So Irene says she agrees with Mrs. Burns on the woman scene. Yes. Mrs. Burns says she didn't care for the internalized fat shaming either. That was a little tough to read, but I can definitely understand Lennon's.
I related. It really made me think of high school a lot. I didn't like that because it just brought back things. And then I grew up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. How come you were holding me while I was crying in a corner?
I don't remember you crying in a corner.
No, it's probably pre-you. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. That's why I didn't peak in high school.
You were in like an abusive friendship before I met you. It was bizarre.
Like, it took a long time to come out of that. Even when you and I were together, it was hard. Together.
We became friends.
When we became friends, it still affected me for many, many years afterwards. That's why we joke about how outspoken and stuff I am now, where I wasn't when we were younger. And a lot of it had to do with that.
Well, aren't I blessed that you're now bossy AF?
I am aggressively helpful. I am not bossy.
That you say in a very aggressive tone. Yes, Brittany, high school sucks.
High school sucks a lot. I see my daughters, they're just living life and having a ball in high school. I'm like, why wasn't my high school experience like that? So
Anne-Marie says she really liked when he wrote beautiful on her. Yes. That was the Sharpies and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Irene says, true, Mrs. Burns, the fat shaming was hard to take, but I think the author did a reasonable job handling the character through it. It was just hard to listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that really had to be not just like a side note. Like we really had to understand how much she struggled. So then when he kind of rejects her, it was like not just a typical rejection. So we had to really see that. And so she had to kind of build that. But I didn't find it annoying. Like sometimes in books, I get tired of the self-loathing. But that in this book, it like drove the story forward.
Yeah.
Sabrina got her due I loved when he brought her back on stage. Yes. Sabrina in the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Irene says she definitely did not enjoy the high school years.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, I have some great memories of high school, but there was definitely some stuff about high school that was not great.
You couldn't pay me enough to go back to high school. Sometimes I have dreams that we're back in high school and I have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. And then I wake up and I'm like, what? I have to ask permission to go to the bathroom again? Like, make it make sense. I couldn't do it again.
My students have to tell me. And so it's sort of like permission, but like I need to know where they are. I can't just have
yes.
in the classroom.
But even as 18-year-old seniors, we were having to say, hey, can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Back then. So I think after being out of school and being independent, I couldn't imagine having to answer to somebody like that again.
Well, I still have to ask permission to go to the bathroom at my job. So
I know. I ask myself.
I have to ask the teacher next door if I
come over and watch your class. Yeah. You can't abandon those children.
No.
I have conversations with myself. Jessica, can we take a break and go to the bathroom? Yes, Jessica. Yes, we can. Go to the bathroom.
Okay, we got more comments. Yes, okay. But he didn't reject her because of her size. Need to remember that. Yes. Mm-hmm. I was just saying that because he rejects her, I think that whole, like, it was, for her, it was more than just this boy rejected me. It's like the whole buildup of how she felt about herself. And then his rejection on top of that made her feel even worse about herself.
Yeah.
Where if she didn't already have those feelings, it maybe could have been handled differently and she wouldn't have hated him with such a passion. But then he does other things that make her hate him with even more of a passion.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I feel like she was very relatable.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hold on one second. Ella's at the front door and she can't get in. Sorry.
I'm going to continue reading.
Yes, please. Sorry, I've got a daughter who's locked out.
Whatever. Sabrina says, yes, Sabrina in the book. Ha, ha, ha. I hate when my name is in books. They're always so mean. Oh my gosh, is that really true? That Sabrinas are always mean? I don't know. You know, I rarely find Mandy in a book. Very rarely.
Every once in a while, I'll get a Jessica.
Mandy's always usually a small side character.
Same. I've had Mandy. I've had Jessica a couple of times.
Continuing on. What about George? Gah. I was like, no, leave him alone. I'm trying to read it as it was typed out for you without your glasses on.
I got that. Yeah. You were just being dramatic.
This is embarrassing. Who was George? I need a refresher.
Same.
I forgot. And I could really blame it on reading the book 3 years ago, but this could have happened to me if I read it like 2 weeks ago.
Was George supposed to be sexy? Because I don't feel like George is very sexy. I think of George of the Jungle.
You don't think of George Michael?
No, but I should.
Yeah.
Mandy and I we watched a lot of George Michael videos.
Like
music videos back in the day.
TV. We're from that generation.
and so shocker, our favorite was Father Figure. And now with all these daddy books,
I thought it was
Faith. I remember Faith, but I also remember Father Figure. I remember having it recorded and we watched it a lot. Which, I mean, when you look at our book, with our book selections, that makes sense.
All right, we're getting way behind on comments. Okay, the book covered so many interesting topics: high school bullying, poverty, dementia, friendships and fame. Yes, it really did cover a lot of them. And in my recollection, I don't feel like any of them were just, I feel like the whole book was just phenomenal. And I feel like everything, and her writing style was just all done really, really well.
Yes.
Irene says she has yet to find an Irene. I can't recall a book I've read with an Irene. Something was funny. I'm sorry. Brittany. George was the other bandmate that really liked her, but she didn't feel the same way. Okay. And Marie says that. And then Irene says George was the bandmate that took over from the one that died. So they didn't like him in the band. He tried to get with FMC.
Now we're starting to ring some bells.
Really? She kind of strung him along. Yes.
Okay. Poor Georgie, Porgy.
He is the guy who replaced Josh, who passed away in the band and had a thing for Lennon. He was the bandmate that filled in for Josh on the tour. When Lennon came on tour, he liked her and she strung him along. Yeah.
Okay. Now we get it. Now I remember.
Poor George. Now we do feel bad for him again.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I asked some questions.
Okay.
Let me pull them up. Well, I was trying to figure out what I did with them. Sorry. I took a picture of them so I wouldn't lose them, and then I lost them.
Funny how that happens.
She deserved him. Oh, I thought I clicked on it. She deserved him being upset with her. Mm-hmm. Yes, she did string him along. Mm-hmm. But he published sexy photos of them so we don't feel bad. Oh, gosh. Okay. So our trope of the month was enemies to lovers. So how do you guys feel? Like, do you feel like sometimes books, like the author or Goodreads or somebody will label the trope and you read it and you're like, that didn't really feel like that. Like a lot of times enemies to lovers doesn't really feel like enemies to lovers. Like it's more like somebody's just annoyed with the other person or just doesn't care for them. And then the other person is just like there, like they have no feelings one way or the other. And I feel like in an enemies to lovers, both of them need to not like each other for them to be enemies. So how do you guys feel like this book did on the enemies to lovers trope? Though it was a good scene, it was a not nice way for George to find out about Lennon and Phoenix. Oh, I felt like this was more second chance than enemies to lovers. Jessica, our wheel of trope names, the wheel of names for the tropes like disappeared on me and I was trying to find them and I did. And so while I was trying to figure this all out, I was trying to make sure that we had taken all the ones off that we'd already done. And Jessica's like, well, this is second chance. And I'm like, I don't think it was. I'm pretty sure it was enemies to lovers. Let me go back and double check.
But yeah, this feels more second chance. I agree.
More second chance.
Because he didn't hate her. They weren't, I mean, she was upset with him. She was angry with him. She
did not like him.
She did not like him.
Yeah.
But he never felt enemy towards her.
Anne Marie says, I don't really feel like this book was enemies to lovers. He always loved her, but his guilt made him push her away. I agree with that. I will say, though, this did feel more enemies to lovers than some because she really did not like he was her enemy. She, even though she may have still had like these deep feelings for him, she was pissed at him and rightfully so.
Yeah.
That's true, Brittany. It was very much a second chance. Yes, I would definitely say that if I had to only pick one trope for this, I would probably go
second chance.
I don't even know if I'd call it Rockstar. I think I would go with second chance if I was forced to pick a trope. Mm-hmm. I mean, Rockstar does play a lot into it, but yeah, this wasn't one. Don't take Love Triangle off the wheel. I didn't. I didn't. Should have. It was my chance.
But you didn't.
Yes, definitely second chance with some enemy to lovers.
Yeah. There's some enemies to lovers out there where they are like enemies for 3 seconds in the book, and then all of a sudden, oh, I misunderstood him. I'm in love now. And at least this didn't do that.
So, this was my other question, and then we're going to be out of questions, and I don't think we've been on very long.
That's okay.
My other question was about, and now I'm going to get confused. Which book came out already? The Choice, and then we're waiting on the consequences?
Yeah, The Choice is out.
Okay. So what are your guys' thoughts on that's Skylar and Memphis, right? Right? I read that. I read The Choice the day it came out because she said the consequence was coming out like within a month. And I'm like, I can handle that. And now it's been
a couple of years.
2 years. Yeah.
And I don't know when we'll get it. So
this is not like nothing. I mean, Ashley went through some horrific things and like had a complete, like, she went through a divorce is what prompted. And then she like moved across the country. She met someone new. I believe they're married and she had a baby. So a lot of stuff happened, but I totally understand not being able to write a romance when your own life has drastically changed. So that's like no shade to her. I hope it comes out, but I'm just curious what everybody thinks about there. You don't have to, like, let's not give any spoilers for The Choice, but although I think
because I haven't read
the words,
I knew that I wanted to wait.
Choice is about.
I wanted to wait for the second book in it, the second half of that before I read it. So I have not read that one. But I want it.
I'm behind, and Brittany said yes, so. Oh, maybe about their choice and then the consequences. The consequence. I haven't looked at follow-up books. We'll have to TBR. We'll just hold it, Irene, and wait for the second book to come off because it really left us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'll reach out tomorrow. I know her. I'm friends with her agent, and we'll see if there's any news.
I'm in her group, and the last she said is that she was working on it and that she did not have any updates to share.
The last I heard from her agent was, who knows? So we did talk about it when I saw her.
Sabrina says, yeah, and I don't think it's coming out anytime soon. Yep. We need that book ASAP. Waiting is hard. Yeah. That might actually be one that I don't know that I really want to reread it because a lot of it was like, it's hard to read at time. Not hard, like it's a hard book to read. The emotional part of it is like difficult. I don't know that I want to read it again, but I might have to skim it.
It's been a while since I read. I mean, like I looked at some notes for this one, but I don't remember. I remember really wanting to read that book because I really wanted their story, but I don't remember their story. Like I don't remember what set it up. I have to skim that.
But like things happen to him, but he does not treat Skylar well at all.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a
cross that. I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
I'm not sure I want to read about Skylar and Memphis. I love Skylar, but I don't really like Memphis. But I really didn't like Memphis. Correct. Yeah, Skylar and Memphis were hating on each other bad in this book. If I had one gripe from the book is how Lennon got brought into Phoenix's world again, the whole sober companion trope. So this was the first time I had read it, was in the words, and I've read it a few other times after, and they never live up to the words. But if it was the other way around, maybe I would have felt like it was an overused trope. I don't know. I mean, they had to come up with some way to force them to be around each other again. Memphis is horrible.
McKinley is right next to me. I'm trying to get her to get up here, but she won't do it.
Yeah, I did not like Skylar messing with Chandler. Okay, so I don't want to give anything away, but it's been too long since I've read it, so I'll just shut. Okay, let's see if I have anything else. I don't think I really have any other questions.
Okay.
Well, anybody else have any comments, thoughts, or questions about the words before we move on? Oh, Joanne just joined us. Hello, sorry I'm late.
Hi.
I actually love this one, 4.5 stars.
I think I have yet to see anybody that says it's horrible. I'm sure there's some out there.
Oh, I bet you there's something on Goodreads like that.
Oh, I know. I love reading the 1-star reviews.
that I loved so much. And I got the ALC for it, but the book itself came out over a year ago, and like there was some low ratings on it. Overall, it was still like in the 4s, and so I was just curious about the people who rated it low.
Yeah.
And it's a dark romance, and they were like basically complaining about all the dark romance aspects. And I'm like, everything that you were complaining about would make Jessica be like, yes, I have to read this book.
The shopping list. Yeah. Trigger warning, shopping list.
I didn't like how she was kind of manipulated into marrying him. Okay, I'm going to look up and see. Since I haven't finished it, I'm waiting to see how Lennon reconciles Phoenix stealing her song. Okay. So somebody rated it 2. She said that she loved it at first, and then there was no groveling.
Really?
And then she loses weight, and all of a sudden everyone thinks she's beautiful.
He thought she was beautiful before she lost weight.
There's people who commented and came for her on her Goodreads post about that.
Good.
Oh, goodness. You know, to each their own, though. Sometimes I see people's ratings and I wonder, like, or their comments, and I wonder if we actually read the same book.
Uh-huh. Although sometimes I see their 5 stars and wonder if we read the same book. So it's okay.
One person rated it a 1 star and said, we simply do not need this type of heroine as a society. I could not stand her.
Why not? That's a tip. That heroine was closer to the average woman than most. So she wants her fictional characters to be very fictional. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Irene says, hang on. There were always comments about her being nice looking and beautiful despite her weight.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what somebody came for in the comments and said she was already described as, I think they used the word beautiful, and that she had an eating disorder, which overeating is an eating disorder. And I can argue a lot about that. Like I can go on a tirade about how people who have never been overweight don't understand how hard it is to lose weight. It's not as simple as like, put down the brownie.
No,
it's not like that. And then like, I know addictions are very different, but if somebody, and I'm not trying to minimize alcohol addiction or, drug addictions, but we talk about food addiction as an eating disorder. But yet, like if somebody is an alcoholic, they get treatment and they just don't ever drink again, and you don't do drugs again. But if you have a food addiction, and again, not minimizing those other addictions, you still have to eat.
Yes.
So you can't just be like, I'm going to cut food out of my life completely. Like it doesn't work that way. So I think that sometimes,
just like with other addictions, like alcoholism, there's mental things attached to it. There's reasons.
Yes.
Well, there's things behind it. Because I know, like when I was really trying to lose weight between the kids, I would self-sabotage. I would lose 5 pounds and then all of a sudden find myself eating things I shouldn't, because I lost 5 pounds. I should be able to eat for a day or two and then, get back on track. So there's things like that.
Self-loathing is very real. So I feel like people who rate it that way, everybody's welcome to their own opinion. But I think if you're not seeing this if you're seeing this character as pathetic, then you haven't struggled in that realm to be able to understand. And not saying that if you haven't, you can, but I think that you need to kind of sometimes think about that. But you know what? Not every book and every heroine's going to be for everyone. I shall step off my soapbox. Sorry.
I'll get on your soapbox for you.
Yeah, I did not know why that was a big deal. When he told the public he stole her song, I didn't buy the conflict. Would the public really care in today's world? I don't know. I mean,
if he said he used AI to write it.
How do you say it?
What?
Milli Vanilli?
Milli Vanilli. Yeah.
Like they were like that was in the late 80s, early 90s. They were like very famous singers, if you don't remember them or were not born then. And they got in trouble for lip syncing, and like, oh my God, the world went for them hard.
Well, because it came out that somebody else was singing their songs. They weren't just like lip syncing
yeah.
at a concert or at a performance so that they could dance, because they danced really well for the times. But their songs had been recorded by somebody else.
Mm-hmm. He just needed to be sorry and pay her for her song.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany, I don't know. Think about the fan base for some of the big guy bands and how they would react. I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was happy that he made her eat at several points in the book.
Food is not an enemy. It's fuel, and that's how she had to look at it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. OMG, Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Any other comments? I can continue to deep dive into Goodreads for why people didn't like it. But
no, because I'm going to get mad, and then
each their own.
And then we'll get banned. Yeah, I know.
This is why I don't like to read reviews, because I don't want people's thoughts to taint my own ideas before I read it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, if I'm reading reviews where they're like, oh, the heroine was pathetic, then I might go in like anticipating that I'm going to feel that way. And I might start to pick her apart more than I should, or than I would have.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any more comments. Are we ready? Oh, here we go. We have another comment. What happened?
The Find My Phone alert is going off. It's probably my middle child who's in Belize right now trying to find her phone at the hotel.
Okay.
Because her phone's connected to mine.
Just had the thought that it was good that Sharpie was used instead of cutting. That would have entered into another level again with her trauma if she was also cutting. Yes, definitely.
Yes.
The spice was good. LOL.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, Jessica and I have been having this conversation about spice. We can talk about this because I think we have a little bit of time left before I can see your finger in the screen.
I know, because this Find My Phone alert is just going off on my phone and it's not going away.
Okay, so we've been having this conversation about spice over, like, we had a comment recently, and over the last like couple of years, every once in a while somebody will comment and ask us to talk about the spice rating for books. And we have struggled with this because there are different levels of spice. Like, and I don't know, like, I don't think about books in terms of spice very often. So how do you guys determine spice? Like, you said the spice was good, and I'm like, yeah, I'm remembering that. Or I'll be like, I read a book that was like really wild. I'll be talking about it in 1 Minute Book Recs, and there was a lot of sex scenes in it. And so I'd probably describe that as spicy, but it has to drive the plot for me to enjoy it. And so a book can end up being more on the smutty side, and I don't necessarily like it because the plot went completely away.
Yeah.
And so then it's not spicy to me.
Yeah.
And I think just smutty. So let's talk about spice.
Yeah. There's times when the spice is spicing and it works for the book, and that works for me. But then there's times when it feels like there's just porn throughout the book, and I don't want to read that. So having a spice rating is difficult. Also, there's times when, like, I might call something a 5 chili pepper fireball or whatever, but you or somebody else might find it a 3, just based on preference.
So Sabrina says spice rating isn't the same for everyone, which
exactly
I agree. Anne Marie says, I feel like the spice level of book can be very depending on the person. Irene says, I have to plead the fifth on how I determine the spice I enjoy.
I'm very intrigued, Irene.
I go off of how many spicy scenes and how detailed they are, Sabrina says.
Okay.
I don't know, like,
I don't sit.
How will I retain that information?
I mean, if I'm skipping spicy scenes because there's too many, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's like top spice. It just means I'm bored with the spice.
Yeah. Anne Marie says, I agree. The story has to have a plot. And in my opinion, the book should be able to stand on its own if the smut was taken out. If it can't, I don't usually like to read it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Exactly.
Oops, I jumped ahead. Brittany says 4 chili peppers.
Okay.
And Joanne says, I agree with Irene. Oh, Joanne, are you also pleading the 5th then?
Lady. Yeah.
Unless Irene had another comment.
Probably not. It's probably that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
I know. I like
BJ's Daddy Mafia books. Those are written a little more. They're definitely on the spicy side, but they still have a really good plot. If you took all this spice out, you would not have a very long book. But the spice in there is driving that story forward.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I was even thinking as I was doing this reread of The Surviving Trace by Calla Reed, like there's not a ton of spice in those books. You have a build up to that spice in the first book, but when you get it, it's like, wow, like it makes you feel things. It makes the moves the book forward. And so there's times like I would have been like, yeah, top level just because it's piping hot. But yet we get 3 scenes at the most. The
Surviving Trace is definitely that way. So once you finally get it, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes.
I'm loving this book.
Yeah.
But overall, was it spicy? No. But were those scenes like way spicier than other books? Yes.
Yeah. So and it wasn't that they were
4 chili peppers, and somebody else would be like, but wait, there was only 3 scenes in the whole thing, so that's only like 1 chili pepper. I don't know.
And it wasn't like when you got it consistent. Right. It wasn't, and then the scenes that we do get are not like 3 chapters long either. So, it just worked for those.
I am guilty of skimming spicy scenes or skipping them all together because they all seem the same. Yes.
Same.
And yes, spice with a good plot is best.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing I can divulge is if I have to think about how the spice is even possible, then it's not happening.
Oh, yeah. If you're drawing a diagram out here.
What?
Sometimes with White Shoes, you have to draw a diagram to think about how that spice works.
The spice seemed to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, so this is my other thought. Sometimes when I hear people talk about a book being really spicy and I read it, the only thing that I can conclude from it is that there were anal scenes that make it more spicy than other books. So is that something that people look for in spice? Because I don't really find that necessarily all that exciting in books.
I actually saw an author the other day used that for one of her tropes, that there were anal scenes. And I'm like, they happen in a lot of the books now, like 90%. Again, it's when I'm like, really? But to each his own.
Yeah.
I don't need that. For sure, don't need that in my books.
Brittany says, LOL, that was me with 50 Shades. I've never actually read it.
I did.
Not knowing positions.
Yeah.
Hello, you came in at a very interesting time. She says, hello, ladies. I read this book a while ago. I liked it, but I found it too long, a lot of spice. Thank you for joining us as we discuss spice in the world.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is 6:46 p.m. our time. Are we ready to do the wheel? Any final thoughts before? I'm always like, I don't want to cut anybody off if they're like typing in.
But you can get the wheel up and ready.
I have it on my phone. It should be pretty ready to go. Yeah, it is ready to go unless my phone falls asleep.
All right.
Irene says, time for the wheel.
Time for the wheel.
Okay, I will get the wheel and we will do that. just a reminder for those of you who can make it on Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, we are doing our buddy read with Amber and Jen, and that was bartered. Now I'm calling it battered.
I kept saying battered, yeah.
Dang it. Oops. Bartered Innocence by B. Shabakan. I listened to the audio and I replayed that over and over again and repeated it to myself. I probably looked crazy because I think it was in my car when I was doing it.
I have to think about it. It's quite the name.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So join us if you're able to for that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Someone says that we are both always a joy.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Wheel time. Ready for the wheel.
Okay.
Brittany does not want to participate. It says love triangle. Stalker, yes.
Stalker.
Getting on.
Do we have a Stalker video coming up? We should put that on our list if we don't.
We should look into that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bartered Innocence was a good listen. She did enjoy it. I think Irene, though, is in Australia and can't make buddy reads because of the time. Something about how she enjoys sleeping at that time.
Sleep? What's that? We're supposed to be reading. Yeah.
I'm with Brittany. Come on, love triangle. Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. So
mean to me.
You guys want to see Mandy cry, don't you?
Yeah. I'll record all of my rage. Okay, here we go. Tapping to spin. Oh, I should be showing you guys.
So yeah, because I don't trust you not to.
I can't read it. Oh, Captive.
Yay!
Your fave.
My fave. Clubber over the head.
We were close to paranormal, but love triangle. It really is on here. I can't see it right now, but I still had breeding on here too. I need to take
because off. Breeding, we did shifter or Omega versus breeding, and because that was what it was Omega versus breeding, and then breeding was separate.
I know, but wasn't breeding our topic?
Omega versus breeding.
Oh, so breeding should still be on here?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, I'll trust you.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's love triangle, I won't be participating that week. I just can't read those. Me either, Anne Marie. We can start our own book club that week. Irene says, yay!
Yay!
Yay! I love that. Yeah. Whoop. We're getting a lot of people happy. Captive is fun. I'm good with
Captive. Captive is fun.
Yes, everyone agrees that reading should stay. Okay.
Yes.
Reading is there. I haven't read Take Me With You yet, so I may suggest that. Oh, okay, yeah.
Do it. It's my fave.
Put that in there. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap up. I will post right away for us to put our Captive thoughts out there. And this is Captive, so the captor has to end up with the captive.
Yes.
It can't be somebody that rescues the captive from the captor.
No. The captor has to either be the hero or heroine, and the captive has to be the hero or the heroine.
One of my favorite tropes. Oh, yes, Mrs. Burns, that is on my TBR. Have a great night, everyone. Yes, everyone, have a great night.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you for the buddy read. If you can't make it, that's okay. We totally understand. I don't know how we ended up doing this on the weekend like this. Oh, Jessica and I have not talked about when we're going to do book club because we're going to be at BB4E.
Yeah.
When we would be doing book club. And while I would like to work that in, I believe there are evening activities while we're at BB4E.
Yeah.
So
we'll be hanging out with some of our.
Do we want to do July 18th? If we can get
sure.
It's a Friday, July 18th.
Is that? Yeah, that's the week after I come back from camping.
Yeah.
So yes.
You're back. I have it on here. You're back by then.
Yeah.
So July 18th?
Works for
if
me.
We want to stick with Friday.
I don't have anything else going on.
July 18th works for Anne Marie. It's so funny that you have to specify LOL. This is romance reading LOL.
Yes.
Been a great chat. Thanks, Mandy, Jessica, and everyone. You are welcome. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. July 18th. Oh, I think I already said that. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Burns.
Thank you.
We're her favorite bestie duo. I don't know. Mm-hmm. You still can't read, right?
No.
And it looks like that's working for people.
Okay.
Irene says that will be July 19th for her, so that's good. Well, Irene, you'll have to tell us what's happening in the future.
Exactly. We know if you're on here, tomorrow is coming. That's all those post-apocalyptic books that I read coming out in me.
I know. Goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We really enjoyed having this discussion. We love doing book club with you guys, and we'll see you hopefully for the buddy read and in all of our videos, and then again for book club in July. And I will post here in just a little bit for everybody's thoughts on, I already forgot, Captor Captive.
Captor Captive.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye, guys.